I don't even know why I bother going live on YouTube. I know no one's going to see it, but let's quit bitching about that. That just means that no one's around to see my mistakes. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a noise? If John does a live stream and no one's around to see it, does he really fuck up? It's a legitimate question. Anyway, wait, hold on. I don't like how my microphone thing is not moving at the back. Oh fuck! I hope I'm making sound on YouTube. Anyway, today's live stream is about Joe Rogan, and get ready, guys, because I'm gonna come out swinging. I got some shit to talk on Mr. Joe Rogan, and obviously he has lots of fans out there, so I need to mentally prepare myself before doing this. So, before I got started, even like with the thought of this video, I did a lot of psychedelic mushrooms. I ate some elk meat. I went on an elk hunting trip actually, and I took some Onnit. And because I took the Onnit protein muscle powder that Joe Rogan promotes, I didn't even need a gun to kill the elk. I just chased down the elk with my bare hands and ripped its heart out of my bare chest. And I was like, or out of its bare chest rather. And then I was like, oh, Onnit, oh, the power of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's fucking creatine powder. Oh. And then I ate the heart of the bear. It was actually the adrenal gland of the elk, rather. That's where I got the source of the energy to do this. And then after I did that, actually, I forgot to mention, I need to wind down a little bit. So I took some DMT and I smurfed it, put it on a little paper towel, and I shoved it up my butthole a little bit. And I went inside in a flotation device, a flotation tank. And then the craziest thing happened to me in the flotation tank, guys. Like, I started to see the universe, right? And I was just seeing a bunch of stars. And then in the universe that I was seeing in the flotation tank, something started to form in the stars. And it was really weird. It was hard to make out at first. And I thought what the universe was showing me inside the flotation tank was an unshaved white testicle, kind of like this microphone, only more oval shaped. And then I looked harder, and it was actually Joe Rogan. The universe was showing me Joe Rogan's face, Joe Rogan's head. He looks like a testicle is what I'm getting at. He looks like he has smoked pot every day for 20 years and has fried his brain. So I don't want to get into just insulting the man because he's an idiot. I want to talk about the substance as to why I don't feel like he should be moderating a presidential debate, because every person I've watched talk about this so far, they always dance around it. They always kind of they're saying it's a good idea because Joe Rogan's the most popular podcaster on the internet right now, and they want a chance to go on his show. So they're saying things like, Joe's just an average guy. Joe's just your average Joe. Joe doesn't look too deeply into any political idea. He just likes to, poke at the surface and let the discussion just flow together. They're too afraid to say that he's a fucking idiot. And I get why they're afraid to say it. They're like, yeah, it'd be dumb to lose an opportunity to go on his show, but he's not a smart guy. That's why he's so popular. He's so popular because he doesn't ask any challenging questions. The idea that people who have anybody on from any walk of life or any kind of viewpoint and just have a conversation with them being a virtue, I think is a little bit misguided, because that also means that person who has that person on their show and interviews them most likely hasn't done the research to have a point of view. A lot of times that guy who wants to have an open-minded discussion with anybody is really just a guy who doesn't know a lot about anything. That's why he's an easy guy to talk to. He's not someone who has really looked into, a lot of the issues that face the different presidential candidates. And he admits this himself. He mentions at least one time in every interview, what a dumb guy he is. And he's not, and but when I say dumb, he's smart enough to create a business model using his stupidity and kind of marketing himself as the regular everyman, so people watch his fucking show. But he's not an educated guy, And a good example of why I think that Joe Rogan has kind of taken himself out of the running for being a person that would do a presidential debate is he had a guy on his show a few months ago. His name's Bob Lazar. And this is just a good example of this. There's other examples who claim to work on UFOs for the government and that he's been stalked by the government for decades and that they're withholding all this technology. And whether or not you believe that the government's lying about UFOs or whether or not you believe that we've experimented on alien technology, this guy, Bob Lazar, is a complete con artist. Like, he's just full of shit, 100%. There is not one iota of evidence to back up his story, and his story is fallacious and crazy. And Joe Rogan used his platform to promote him to millions of people. And I think that he obviously is somebody who isn't a serious journalist at that point. He's an entertainer. If you have somebody like that on your show where you don't vet them at all and allow them to spew your stupid bullshit or spew their stupid bullshit on your platform. I'm not saying that's not his right. That's absolutely his right. But the second he does that, and he's done this with other people, you're not somebody who I think should be taken seriously as a commentator on this election. And he's not somebody who is going to ask any hard-hitting questions. He's going to try to be their friend the whole time. And obviously it hasn't happened yet. I can't say that for sure, but I haven't seen anything to prove that he would be the kind of person that, one, has the knowledge to ask any hard-hitting questions, two, has the balls to ask any hard-hitting questions, and three, isn't going to be high as fuck and just have the wherewithal and the awareness in the moment to ask any hard-hitting questions. And the kind of final thing I want to talk about is like the media and the state of the media, because I majored in mass communications, not to brag or anything like that, but a recurring theme in those classes was like how the media or how the structure of the media was changing. Like back in the day, like when television first came about and mass media was first created, like the television was the gatekeeper of the information, right? Like there was only a few channels, and then through that gateway of a few channels that decimated all the information of what was going on in the world. And with the invention of the internet, that kind of made it more democratized to where we're all the gatekeepers. And all those classes I took made that sound like a good thing, but I think that Joe Rogan being a presidential moderator is sort of, in a way, an example of how that's a bad thing. Because, well, there's no longer a gatekeeper and there's more access to information. There's also more of a capacity for disinformation to spread because that doesn't get vetted as much. And Joe Rogan is a great example of somebody who a lot of the times, even though he doesn't directly endorse a lot of the people that he comes on his show, so you can't put all the responsibility on his shoulders, a lot of times a lot of disinformation is spread on his show because he's not someone that vets. He's not someone that researches. He's one of the people who is kind of like made a name for himself and created a platform for himself because the structure of the media isn't such that it's held to a standard of truth anymore, or not as high of a standard of truth as it used to be. So what are your thoughts on Joe Rogan hosting a presidential debate? What I do want to see, I want to see Joe Rogan and Brendan Schaub, or excuse me, Joe Biden and Brendan Schaub. I think that they should go head to head. I think that he'd be perfect for Joe Biden. Like CTE Brendan and Alzheimer's Joe, just go at it. And I want there to be a magical moment if they go at it, Brendan Schaub and Joe Biden, where they look at each other and you can tell that they both shit their pants at the same time. It was just like for Brendan Schaub, it's like, oh my God, my brain's injured from all that fighting. Ploop. And Joe Biden, he probably shits his pants at least once a day, so it wouldn't be his fault as badly. So, yeah, some questions. Do you think that, question one, that the state of the media or with the internet has led to more misinformed people such as Joe Rogan being elevated to a level they don't need to be elevated? Two, do you think that the media, as it is now with the internet, has allowed more disinformation to circulate? And what impact do you think that that's had on our political system? Three, Does Joe Rogan look more like a thumb or a toe or a testicle? I think that it's, for testicle, he obviously has a shaved head. So it's not like completely like a testicle. It's like a shaved testicle. I think he like looks more like a finger, like more like oval shape, So I think he looks like a finger. So yeah, does he look more like a shaved testicle, um, thumb or finger or toe? And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. If not, I don't care. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Good night. Alrighty. Well, I got 2 notifications.